Hello. This is where we do homeschool. I thought I'd show you because I told you that we just enjoy sitting on the sofa. We have a big TV over here where we can watch our videos. We pile our um, erasers, pencils, and everything on that table. And then here is, let me see if I can get our zebra table. There's our zebra table and the basket of books. Boy, trying to film on a computer is hard. Well, I did want to. I told you that we do not sit at this table all the time. I mean, we don't. We sit on that blue sofa in there, and we do our schooling. Um, well, I'm Judy, or Nana Judy, doing my homeschool thoughts. Uh, this time we're going to talk about science books, not curriculum. Again, we're talking about extra books that you can work into your science curriculums. And I'll tell you that the science curriculums for kindergarten and first grade, to me, are useless. They, at least they were for my grandkids, and maybe it's because they're all gifted. Yours may not be the same way, but like kindergarten, spend a lot of time saying about talking about a community. This is your community. Draw your street. How do you get to your house? Um, what kind of businesses are in your community, and then talked a lot. I mean, that sounds like social studies, doesn't it, instead of science? Yeah, I just thought, what does this have to do with science? Maybe I just had the wrong curriculums. I don't know. But I wanted to get into science. And that did not really start till second grade curriculum. So now I'm happy with curriculums for science. And if you go to the Texas Essential Knowledge requirements for science, it will say, well, you need this about planets and this about the body and this about organisms and did I already say environments or climates or landforms or like earthquakes and things like that. But they'll say it every year. You're just going to be growing and growing on that knowledge, building and building it up. And by last year, you were supposed to be starting electrical currents. Um, we really didn't get into that. We did a lot of stuff with simple machines, and we built one. Yeah, we built a simple machine, an arm that would shake hands with us using, I can't even remember, I think a coat hanger. I don't remember what all was in it, but Toby and I, we have this mindset that we're going to fail on science projects. We just go into science projects thinking we're going to fail, but we don't mind it. I mean, because then what happens? You know what Edison said, a failure is just another way that you know that there's some try something different. And so uh, a lot of times we may the science experiment may sound simple, but we might spend 3 days getting it right. He'll sometimes get discouraged and say, well, we failed another one. And I'll say, no, we're not through. Let's try something different. And when we finally got that hand to shake with us, he had more fun shaking hands with that. I think it was using toilet bounty rollers and some kind of oh goodness gracious, I can't even remember now what all. It was just simple things that we had around the house we were supposed to use. Maybe a coat hanger, and straws. I don't. It's been too long. We've done several experiments since then. Like you see that little bush behind me? We were supposed to build a tree house. And we determined that if we built a tree house, we needed a tree. So that my little greenery back there became our tree. And we really didn't have trouble getting the tree house built with blocks and stuff and putting it in there. What we had trouble with was figuring out how to get up to the tree house. And we tried building a swinging ladder. We tried all kind of different things, and we were not having success. And his big brother was out of school one day and he thought he had the answer. And we got him involved in that experiment. In the end, we cheated, went upstairs and got a ladder to a bunk bed and put it at the bottom of the treehouse. We said, oh, we'll just climb the ladder up to our treehouse. We have built volcanoes and we've kept them. We kept it for a couple years, and every year when we got to that section in the science book that said a volcano, we'd go get our volcano out and blow it up again. It finally had all it could take this last year. We had to throw it away. It sort of collapsed, but we had more fun when we built that. That was when Nikki was still here too. We spent a whole day building it, and we bought little animals to go on the mountain, and we fenced them in at a ranch at the bottom of the volcano. I mean, we really had a very artistic volcano. But what does this have to do with the books? Well, it really doesn't, unless you need some books that's got experiments in it. It could be you don't like the experiments in your science curriculum. Uh, the one we had this last year for third grade, we really did like the experiments in it, where you take different object, what things to make a little boat, float them in the water, and then add things to it to see which one's sturdier, determining whether the heavier the cargo, does that mean your boat needs to be heavier and all that? And we had a lot of fun with that one. And one time we used dye in water and did a bunch of experiments with salt and oil and things like that. That was fun. And I even tasted them when they wouldn't taste it. I said, why? It's just salt and water. The taste, it'll be just like when you gargle your sore throat. But anyway, we like to do experiments. And most of the curriculums offer an experimental kit. It's worth it to get it. And you save them from year to year because now we have the balance scales and we've got all kinds of magnets because it seems like each science experiment kit has a different kind of magnets. And this one that we got this last year was so cool. They're magnet bars and they're different colors. There's like 7 different colors, and I think there's like 12 different bars. And Toby took that to show and tell at church of Awana's one night and let the kids all play with a bar. But each different colored bar had a different magnetism. So you could throw out a bunch of, have you ever seen magnet sand or magnet dust? And see, it looks like salt, but it's magnetized and it's silver. And those magnet bars, you just when you're through with it, your experiment, you just take that bar and wipe it over the sand and put the sand back in the little container. We had some of that, and then we used paper clips. We had a contest to see whose magnet could pick up the most paper clips quicker. And Toby won that one, and I came in second. Nikki lost, uh, but yeah, we enjoy experiments. So when you go to get your curriculum, if they offer a resource kit or a experiment kit, get it. It saves you a lot of time having to hunt for all the things if it all comes in a box. And now I have a tub filled with science stuff that we can use in experiments. But what about books? Let's talk about Usborne again for a minute. When you get to anatomy, Usborne has a huge life-size floor puzzle, and it's double-sided. And on one side, it is the bones of the body. And then at the bottom of them, each bone up here has a number on it. And at the bottom is a little all the bones listed with their number so that you can match it up, which is a good testing thing because you start studying those bones and that number, then you cover it and have the child point to a bone and tell you what that bone is called. You flip the puzzle over, take it apart, make them do it again. And this time it's the organs of the body: your liver, your heart, your brain, your skin, your pancreas. The first time we did that, the pancreas really wasn't that important to us. But that year, later in the year, Toby was diagnosed with diabetes. So this year, when we did it again, he paid particular attention where the pancreas was, since he knows his doesn't work at all anymore. When he was going through the honeymoon of diabetes, your pancreas still working a little bit, and so you don't have to take as much insulin. But once your first year of diabetes is over with, your pancreas is pretty wiped out. Yeah, it doesn't do much. So you're working strictly on your food and your insulin that you're taking. So anyway, he took a more interest in the pancreas on the puzzle this year than he had the other year because now he's dealt with diabetes for 3 years. All right, well, let's get into the books. But anyway, you might want to look up um, that puzzle with Usborne. They have quite a few puzzles. We've got the one with the chemical element table, and there's one about the sea. There's all kinds of puzzles. They come out with new ones almost every year. Okay, remember when we were studying just books to read, and I told you how Nikki liked Bear Grylls? Well, there is this is not fictionalized. This is him actually teaching like he does his TV show, Bear Grylls. It's called Epic Expeditions. We have not used this yet, but because it's a little bit it's teachy for sure, and it's got lots of pictures. But I figure when we get into environments this year, we're going to be we're doing a lot more reading this year because instead of using a curriculum for language arts, we're going to read, 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 read because we have 5 hours we won't be in the car that we can use for school this year, that we were in the car last year taking his brother to his specialized school and back. This year we don't have to do that. So I've been just looking at more and more books and found this one, and I think that we will really enjoy it. And inside the back cover is a map of the world. So I guess he's going to do expeditions all over the world. The index is in the back. I was going to look to see if there's a glossary in the back. I was going to see if they have the quick links. Remember the quick links that you can go to Usborne quick links, and it will give you websites that go along with the book you're reading. This one does not have the quick links in the back. So I'm going to guess. Oh, and there's that same world map, and it's easier to see it on the front cover. The chapters are Lewis and Clark, Livingstone and Stanley, Burke and Wills, the Northwest Passage, Amundsen and Scott. I'm going to guess from that this should be more with our history books and not our science books. But I take it as science too because you're learning how to live in those environments. So I guess you can do whichever way you want. It might could work for both history and science. All right. Now, you're always going to have something to do with germs and atoms and all that. Well, this is when they first get started, and it just happened to come out the year of COVID. This was so awesome that we had what are germs. And then later there was another book that was for older kids, and it even had the COVID in it. So that was kind of neat. But this is very first questions and answers. Lift the flap. What are germs? So for kindergartners, this will be a good one. So I want to show you the lift the flaps. And we haven't done this one, so I'm going to have to look for the flaps. What are germs? They are tiny living things. They can make you sick if they get inside you. Now there's a flap here. There we are. Flap there. When you open that tiny living things, the little girl and the dog on there, underneath it says germs are so tiny you can't see them unless you zoom in really close with the machine called a microscope. We have us a microscope in our science now. I invested in one 2 years ago when we were trying to look at uh, um, flowers and things like that. We needed that. So we have a microscope. As you start homeschooling, you won't have everything you need the first year. Just slowly add, work it into your budget. But what are germs? We're viruses, colds, flu, chicken pox, and we're bacteria, tummy bugs, infections. And there's another flap. I have the flu. I have chicken pox. I have a cold. We had done this. I remember it now. I guess we just missed that one. So on each page, there will be a flap to open. And the kids love, love, love to do that. They love to try to find where those flaps are and open them up. So this is a kind of an expensive book. It was $12.99. Yeah, it was kind of expensive. Uh, so you have to weigh it. Does that fit into your budget or not? Okay. Remember, I got books cheaper because I was selling them. All right. This is that science in a box I told you about. And we can use it to introduce every year, whatever the subject matter is. So what we have here is, what do you see? Weather, and we've used it a bunch. We've read the weathering. I found it upstairs in the regular bookcase yesterday and put it back in here. Planet Earth, your body, solar system, astronomy, volcanoes, storms and hurricanes, living in space, sun, moon, and stars, earthquakes, and tsunamis. And it seems like you use those every year. You just go deeper into those subjects. And appears I've got one or two missing. They're probably in the bookcase upstairs. I still have earthquakes, tsunamis, weather, volcanoes, astronomy, weather. I got two weathers. They're identical. I know, how did that happen? Your body, the solar system, storms, and hurricanes. Well, I must have not known I had the weather in here and ordered a separate weather. And I cannot tell you how much I paid for this. But by ordering the whole box, I got it cheaper than if I'd ordered them all separately. Separately, they're $4.99 each. And it's called Usborne Beginner Science. Oh, the price was on the bottom. $44.99. So $45. And there was 9 books. 9 times 5 is 45. We didn't save any money by buying them all at one time. So maybe it's just the convenience of not having to pay that many shippings. Okay. What we're doing, let's go back to the body because we had the germs here. Well, a shine of light. This is the shine of light, the human body. What happens underneath our skin? Shine a light behind the page and see. Explore the human body up close and discover how incredible it is, from the air we breathe and the food we eat to the muscles that help us move and the heart that pumps our blood. This is a Kane Miller. You get it from Usborne. It's $12.99 also. So, big print. So, probably second grade is, I'd say. And when you shine a light behind this woman, there's a baby inside her tummy. You can see the baby growing. And on the back side, you see what it was that you would see on the other side if you put the light behind it. There's the baby. Okay. And let's see where the next shine the light is. You shine the light behind these kids, and you'll be able to see through the page to see the skeleton on the other side. But you don't let them see what's on the other side until you already shine the light. And that's the surprise that they get to see inside the person. Yeah. And that's on every page. There will be a shine of light. And seems like it came with a light. If not, we just use a flashlight or your cell phone. Or maybe that's what I should be using, is my cell phone one to see. Let's see if I can get my cell phone light to come on. Flashlight. Okay. Let's see if I can do this. See? See the baby there? Kids love it. Yep, your flashlight on your cell phone will work. All right. So I've talked to y'all about the shine lights. Now you know what I was talking about. Uh, Sticking with the body, see inside germs. And I believe this is the one that had COVID in it. This is a flap book. Lift the flap. And look at all the flaps on this page. One, two, three, four, five, six flaps just on this page. Oh, they love to do that. And if I remember correctly, since there were so many flaps on this page, we kind of only did 2 pages a day because your fingers get to where they kind of hurt. But you've got good and bad bacteria, pesky protozoa, vicious viruses, fascinating fungi, spreading germs in the city, natural defenses, antibiotics, vaccines, how vaccines work, microbe heroes, superbugs. This was a great book. We really, really, really enjoyed this book. We're going to do it again this year. I don't think going through them one time does them justice. I mean, you can only take in so much information at one time. So come back a year later and read it again, you'll get more information in your brain. All right, we're still in the human body. As you can tell, we like to study the human body. This is your first encyclopedia of the human body. Oh, that one was an Usborne STEM book, that last one, and it's $14.99. Now, some of these may have gone up because I haven't sold Usborne in 2 or 3 years, so they may have gone up. And they may have come out with new editions too, if you go to the website. This one is Usborne's first encyclopedia of the human body. As you can see, it's very colorful. It's broken down into body parts. Look at this page. Pretty cool. And it's $9.99. It's not a lift a flap. It's not a shine a light. It's just actually reading a book. So we'll be doing that one this year. We're still not through with the human body. Another lift the flap. And I think this could be my favorite one of all. How your body works. And it's $14.99. How your body works. But let me show you what's my favorite part. Looky here. That's like our puzzle almost, is that I told you about. And there are flaps all around this body to lift, all around it. And so this is your bones and muscles page. But turn the page and now we've got the skeleton. And it's got lift the flaps too. And heart and lungs. Your nerves, your brain. And we actually trace this and let them do their own brain and draw it off and stuff. And all these have lifted flaps in them. Then we've got senses, hearing, touch, tasting, smelling, eating, your digestive system. How cool is this to travel around your digestive system lifting flaps? Ta-da! 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 Lots of flaps to lift. Love this book. It we just really, 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 really loved this book. How your body works. Your heart beats 100,000 times a day. Wow. If we were to multiply I'm 72 times that, times 365 days, wow, my heart just has been beating and beating so much. And we're body has over 30 trillion cells. 30 trillion cells. How many zeros is that? Another see inside your body. And it is, let's see. I don't see a price on it. Oh, $14.99 also. And it's an Usborne. And it's a flap book. That was how your body works, and this is to see inside your body. Oh, yeah, we like this one too. Look at that, with all the flaps going around it. I tell you, by the time you finish all these books, you're going to have a real education in human anatomy. You may not can afford all of these. I wouldn't have been able to afford all of them if I had not been selling them. So I got a good deal on them. Um, And maybe you would like to start selling Usborne. You can do that. You just sign up for it. And then every time you place an order, have a party or something, just add to your selection. A lot of these, my daughter started selling it too. And so we were doing them, each of us doing parties with our own set of friends. And you can do the parties online. You don't have to just do them at somebody's house, which is good because we were doing it during COVID. So nobody was going to anybody's house. But we did our parties online at night. And we played games online. And uh, what they would do is they would send you all these videos to watch about all the new books. And so then you set up the game. So they had to go to the video and watch the video. And that kind of increases the sales. So um, that's why I have so many of these, because Tara was ordering for her house and I was ordering for my house. And so we just got about, and we would check with each other. Okay, I'm getting this one. Don't you get this one, you get that one. And that may be why we had two weatherings. She may not have known I had that full set, and she may have ordered the weather for herself. Okay. My last one to show you today is my very first science book. It's $11.99. It's Usborne. It's a great way to introduce little children to the wonders of science. It's full of engaging pictures and fun facts that grown-ups and children can share and talk about together. And you can kind of see that Usborne has lots of color always, and they put things in snippets all around the page. It's not like reading a whole page of facts, it's like reading snippets. Oh, look at this page. It's got lots of animals on it. You see how this would appeal to little kids. Okay. I probably don't need this one anymore since I don't have anybody that little anymore. If anybody wants to buy this one from me and pay shipping and handling, it's $11.99. Just let me know if you want to buy this one. And you see it's in great condition. All right. And that's my very first science book. So that's all the extracurricular books I brought downstairs for science. I probably have a ton more, but these were the ones that um, I had set out that we're going to be doing the body again pretty soon, and space. We're going to do space. I know that for a fact. And if you have a secondhand book store, secondhand, is it called Second Time Around or something like that? They also have a lot of kits that you can buy here in San Antonio. They're in shopping centers a lot, the secondhand bookstore. And I get a lot of crafty things there, real cheap. And like I've got a planet system that you make and hang it from the ceiling. And I've got dinosaurs in clay that you can build. They have the molds and you put the clay with it. So keep that in mind to go to bookstores, secondhand bookstores, and look for different activities you can do with what you're studying in case you don't have a resource kit or a science kit that came with your curriculum. Kids learn hands on. Let me tell you about a special math project I did every year when I was teaching school. When we got to the geometry where you had to figure out area and perimeter and angles, and how they all add up to 360 degrees. What's a complementary angle? What's a supplementary angle? What's a diagonal? What's a ray? All those kind of things. I would go to Home Depot or Lowe's and I'd buy ceiling tiles. You don't have to do that anymore. You can buy foam boards. It's the same thing as those ceiling tiles, but they didn't have foam board back then. We had poster board, but we didn't have foam boards. Well, now the Dollar Tree has the foam board and the poster board size, and you really don't need anything that big. So you could actually, if you have several kids, cut them in half or in fours. If you have something that's like 12 by 12, that's plenty big enough unless you just want a great big one. And then I got hat pins and thread and glue, and I let them build whatever polygon they wanted. It was up to them, and I didn't let them know what they were going to do with it, but I did tell them something they would keep throughout our geometry chapter. That's when I was using a Becca, which did chapters on things. Uh, and so they would stick their hat pin in glue and then stick it into the ceiling tile, which you would use foam board now, so that the hat pin sticks there and it doesn't fall out. Once it dries, then you wrap thread from one hat pin to the other, and that gives you a polygon. And so if they just use two hat pins, you might have a rectangle or a square. If they did five hat pins, you just leave it up to them. I tell them don't put 12. That's going to give you too much work to do in geometry. Let them know that the more sides you have, the harder the math is going to get. Uh, but having an octagon, a pentagon, those are okay. But I think if you got past 12, it would just be too hard to do all the work. Then you can use it to figure your perimeter, then figure up your area. How do you do a polygon area? Yeah, that's a learning experience. Now, take your string and run it across from one hat pin to every hat pin on each hat pin. How many diagonals do you get? And that will probably tell you how many angles you get. And once you get all those done, now find your supplementary angles, find your complementary angles. What do they add up to? Well, get out your protractor. Let's see what size of angles you've got. And they just used them for everything we did in geometry. And they always took them home, and their parents always told me later that that was their favorite thing to bring home from school, other than their silhouette that I would do. And they would hang it in their room. And the parents said they're still got their polygon hanging in the room at home. Something they can remember fifth grade, because I taught fifth grade. Maybe I was sixth grade then. I think I was sixth grade when I used a Becca. I went down to fifth grade when I got Saxon uh, donated to us. Yeah. The fifth grade teacher who was my mentor teacher, she retired. She had a issue with her jaw, and she got to where she couldn't talk even after surgery. So I took her place. Well, so another good project, uh, I just now mentioned it. It has nothing to do with science. Was with vocabulary. When we had the word silhouette every year in our spelling and vocabulary, I would put a big black piece of paper on the whiteboard, and I'd set the children like this, one at a time, and I would take white chalk and draw their profile, and then give it to them to cut out, and they would cut it out and put it on a white sheet of paper, and then uh, don't put their name on the front, put it on the back. Decorate our room with all the silhouettes, and have the parents come up and try to find their child's silhouette, their profile. I know that's really a profile, but that's how I taught what a silhouette was. It was like a shadow of your profile. But that was a fun one. It took a whole afternoon to do it, but it was worth it because they loved taking those home too. And the parents enjoyed coming and looking for their child and making sure they could find their child up there. And they always did. Now, you know what your child's profile looks like, right? Yeah. Just like I knew my daughter's art when I walked in her classroom that day. If you saw one of my previous videos when I said I walked into the classroom to talk to the teacher, and the kids were gone to uh, PE. I walked in and I saw all these flowers, uh, pictures that they had done at the wall, and I saw my daughter had done two. And I asked the teacher, how come everybody else just has one and Tara has two? And she said, oh, everybody just had one. I said, no, that one's Tara's and that one's Tara's. I know my daughter's artwork. So later, the teacher told me when they came back from PE, she asked, she had gone and looked to see whose name was on the second flower, and her little girl named Francella. She said, Francella, did you do your flower picture yourself? And she said, no, I tried and tried. I just got frustrated. So I asked Tara to do it for me. But if I can pick out my daughter's artwork from all the other children's artwork, you could pick out your child's profile silhouette from all the others in the classroom too. We know our kids. Yeah, we do. Okay, I don't know what we'll talk about next time, but this time we were talking about science books. You have a good week. See you next time. Bye bye.